Hi, welcome to day 7 of our 10-day journey into beauty as a soulful language. Thank you for being here today. We are talking about another facet of beauty from a different perspective. Today we are referring to beauty in the Greek language. The Greek language, the word for beauty is to kalon. I could be saying that completely wrong. Please forgive me if I am. To kalon, T-O space K-A-L-O-N. In the Greek language, according to the book 6 Names of Beauty by Crispin Sartwell, he talks about the essence of beauty in the Greek language is expressed from a place of having an ideal of something, having this ideal image of something that beauty kind of meets that ideal, but more from a deeper level of understanding, and also from the feeling of or the essence of an idea. So having an idea or an innovation of something that will create beauty or bring beauty forward in a new way or a reimagined way, in a creative way. So that's what the chapter in that book kind of talks about. And for me, what that sparked in my own life and for myself was the feeling of having this ideal in your mind. For me, it's this ideal utopia. So go on this journey with me, having this ideal utopia in my mind. What does that look like? What does my ideal utopia look like? And I found that in defining that and diving into what it looks like, feels like, tastes like, what's the temperature, what do I see, what do I experience in this ideal utopia, in this image or this video more, in my mind of utopia, of heaven. What does that look like? What is it that we're here trying to create as star seeds, as light workers, as the people that came here now in this day and age to create on a land, on a nurtured path that our lineage before us prepared for us now. And what is that? What are we creating? What is the ideal new earth? What is the ideal ascending? What are we ascending to? What do we want to ascend to? What does it look like? And I feel that if we have the image of that, the ideal of that, which may differ for me versus you versus everybody else, it might be a unique image or video for each of us. But when we have that, when we define it within our mind, we're able to create it. It first has to be like seen in the mind and imagined before it can be created in a human sense. So that's kind of where I took it. And from that ideal, from defining that ideal utopia in my own mind, I found that the things that I find beautiful in life are depicted in that utopia. They're in that utopia. And it was so enlivening for me, so freeing to me to see and to make the association that this ideal utopia is coming to life right before my eyes. It might be little pieces of it right now, but it's coming to life now. It's being created now, in the language and in the form of beauty, what I find beautiful. And for me, those pieces and what that utopia looks like for me is laughter. It's smiles on my loved ones' faces. It's pure happiness and bliss. It is doing what makes you feel alive and free. It makes you can't help but sing at the top of your lungs. It's what makes you can't help but dance and dance out loud, and it's what I see in my children. It's my children's just their image of life, their relationship to life, their connection to life. And what they anchor in here in this lifetime, the divine love that they bring with them, and their pureness of spirit and soul, and how connected they are to that, and how connected they are to soul in everything and everyone and all beings of light. Both of my children have always been drawn to animals, and Harlow, our daughter, is so drawn to horses. And as a baby, we would go on walks, and there's horse property around where we live. And when we'd go on walks, the horses would just run to her. Like, they would just run up to her as close as they could get to her. It was the most amazing thing to witness, just this human animal soul connection at that young age, in the beautiful way that it was. And it helped me see this purity, this, like, she hasn't been trained out of that natural connection. And it's my hope and prayer that she never is, and that it's always nurtured that natural connection she has with horses, with animals, and with everything else, the divine connection she has to earth, to heaven, to her own inner wisdom and soulful delight. That is utopia to me. And same with my son. Jagger is the most calming, loving presence in the world. In my humble opinion, he is so amazing. It's just so amazing to me to watch his gifts in full play at all times. He is incredible. The vibration that he puts out and how far it reaches. He has such a calming, harmonizing spirit about him. And there's so many things that my children brought with them that I can't, I don't have human language to explain or even to understand. Like, my brain can't understand it. My heart, my soul can grasp it enough to hopefully nurture it in them. That's my prayer. But I've heard it said before, and you may have too, that the golden age of children coming into our world right now, our world's been preparing for them. And they bring with them frequencies that the world's never seen, that the earth has never seen. And as a mother to two of those children, I firmly, full-heartedly believe that. And I see it, I witness it every single day. And it's so exciting and just brings this zest for being alive right now to witness that, to watch that come to life. That to me is utopia, just seeing that come to life. And the more of that I witness and see come to life, the more I understand this utopian ideal in my mind. And it's added to, it's even goes far beyond what I could ever imagine, because of the light and the love, the divine love that they bring into my life and into the world, and that many, 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 many other children are bringing into the world at this time, expanding beyond age. There is a surgence, like a abundance of these children coming into the world right now. And the more that we can empower them and invoke that human courage to step through any fear that might come to jeopardize that, the more that we're going to see it come to life, or the more that we're going to maintain that it comes to life in the natural way that it does. So, yeah, that's the ideal utopia for me, is just watching my children's gifts come to life, and what they look like here on earth, what they do, how they raise the vibration, and how that plays into creating this utopia, this new earth, this heaven on earth, from their own perspective and their own unique contribution that is so divinely connected to the beauty of the light. So that is my utopia. And when I witness the beauty of gifts coming to life, that in front of me in my life, that utopia is coming to life right there in front of my eyes. And I feel that beauty, anything that I find beautiful, I'm seeing that too, like flowers and trees and the natural world, witnessing connection with animals that I feel connected to, witnessing connection soul to soul between human beings, myself and others, and just witnessing it in other people, the exchange of love, the feeling of divine love, the essence of love, of light, and just this anchoring. When beauty to me is this anchoring in of divine love in a way that awakens the soul and speaks that soulful language and brings the soul forward to guide all that we do and how we connect. It reminds us, it calls us to remember who we are and why we're here and what our journey as a soul is in this lifetime and in past and future lifetimes. So that is my ideal utopia. So as we're discussing the ideal portion of the video today, the facet of beauty of the ideal, having this ideal perspective, and inviting you, I now invite you to take the first practice. This is going to be a 2-part practice, experiment, assignment, whatever we want to call these, of defining your ideal utopia. So the assignment is to write a 1-page ideal utopia. Write your 1-page ideal utopia. Take 1 page to write out what that utopia looks like. Write down colors and what you see, like images that come to mind, feelings, essences that you experience, everything. Think of the senses. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? How do you feel? Are you connected to your heart? Is your spirit like alive and dancing and free? What does it feel like? All of that. Go through all the senses and just write it down. What is your utopia? What does heaven look like? What does utopia look like to you? What's your ideal utopia? So that's the first invitation. Write down at least 1 page. You can write beyond that. I invite you to try to write at least 1 page, and just let it kind of flow. Don't question anything. This is something I've learned with writing, is the more that we edit as we write, the less that comes through naturally. So just allow things to flow through, even if they don't make sense. Just allow them to flow through. You could write down something that has 0 sense at all in the context, but going back and reading it, it might make sense later on. It might also be an invitation to you to dig deeper into it. So if you write down something completely way out there that doesn't make any sense to anything, I invite you to dive into it. Dive into the spiritual meaning of it. Go do some Google searches and find why did that pop in my head? Why did the peacock pop in my head? Or why did the flamingo pop in my head? That happened to me the other day. I was doing a meditation, and out of the meditation, I began writing about healing lineages. And it popped in my head a flamingo, and I just kept seeing flamingo everywhere. And I kept seeing it throughout the day. I mentioned to my husband how much our flamingo tree outside, how pretty it looked. Like all of this stuff kept coming around flamingo. And it made no sense to anything, but because it's synchronicity and repetitiveness, when I dove deeper into it, it had meaning to what was happening, what was coming through at that time. So I've learned the soul can speak to us in that way a lot of times, because sometimes it doesn't know how to formulate a human sentence for something it wants you to know. So it will pick something for you to kind of spark into a further meaning. So you will be led, once you allow your soul to guide you, you'll be led down the path of, oh, what does that mean? And through your research, the universe will help you uncover the meaning that was intended for you. So that's assignment 1. Write down your 1-page ideal utopia. From the ideal utopia, once you go back and read it, look through and just list out things that you see in your life now that bring that utopia to life. What are the things that you find beautiful that are directly connected to that utopia coming to life, that heaven coming to life here on earth? And just list that out. So that is practice 1. Now we're going to get into the second portion of this video, which is idea. The idea, the beauty of an idea. So my relationship and definition I think there's different stages of ideas, but the idea that I want to talk about today, the stage of idea that I want to talk about today, my definition is this meditative state that comes upon the mind and turns the mind towards the soul and the spirit. When that happens, the soul and spirit sparks ideas into the mind. And this is something that I have found happen when I am in a childlike state of play. When I am in an imaginative, no rules state of play and imagination coming to life, it is my soul and spirit speaking and sparking these ideas to the mind. And the mind has to be in this harmonizing state, this meditative state, to be listening and in tune with the soul and the spirit in the essence of play. And when that happens, it's like you're sitting back and all these ideas just pour in. There's so many ideas. Thinking about a child, like a child has so many ideas all the time. Their imagination is constantly, in most cases, is constantly generating idea and idea and idea. That's why they want to play with so many different things at so many different times and do so many different activities, because their active imagination is constantly leading them to discover, to explore the world and discover things in this earth and experiences on earth that allow their soul to come forward and be alive in that beautiful exchange. So when you are in a state of play, it's like all these ideas are generating around you, and you're watching these ideas almost like you're sitting in a field watching hundreds of fireflies flying all around you, and you're witnessing this. And as you're watching it, you're thinking, I want to capture all this. I want to capture them in a jar. I want to capture these fireflies in a jar and just take them home with me and study them and understand, what are these ideas? What can I turn them into? What will they spark? The idea, I want to capture all these ideas and witness them and understand them and know what's going to come of them and all of that. But yet this other side of you is like, no, I just want to witness this. I just want to see this beautiful experience of watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fireflies sparking and flying all around me in this field, and just be in the beauty of it. That's what I want to invite you to do. Sit and watch the fireflies. Just get yourself in a state of play. Sit back and watch the fireflies of ideas. All the ideas going all over around you. And you don't have to capture any of them. Just witness their beauty. So my invitation for this second exercise to dive into the beauty of ideas is to get into a childlike state of play. Whatever that might look like to you. It could be going and swinging on a swing set, or jumping on a trampoline, or going and diving into water and cannonballing, or splashing around in a pool, whatever it might be. It could be going and finding a childhood toy. They're remaking a ton of toys right now that you may have had in your childhood. Go find a childhood toy and just play with it. Like, get back into that imaginative state of that, with that child, that inner child coming out to guide you and navigate through this exercise. Just be in that childlike state of play and witness the feeling of the mind meditating and harmonizing into the soul and spirit, and what ideas spark from that state. It's amazing. All you need to do with that is just witness that. You don't need to capture any of the ideas. Just allow yourself to sense and understand and feel the essence of your mind tapping into this meditative state and the ideas that come from that place. This is a great thing to learn, just a great thing to practice, because then when you do need to come up with ideas and to generate ideas, you can get better and better and more natural, like train that natural rhythm within you, because it's already there. We just learn our way out of it over time when logic seems more important. So we're retraining ourselves to meditate the mind into the heart, the spirit, the soul, and then allow ideas to come from that place. Because those ideas are the ideas that are going to create that utopia, that heaven on earth, that new earth, that will activate that ascension to that goal, that ideal. So that is my second invitation. So to recap the 2 practices for today, the practice that is honoring the ideal portion of the Greek word for beauty, the practice is to write your 1-page utopia. Write down your 1-page utopia. What does your utopia look like? What is the image in your mind? Write that down. Give yourself some time, go back, read through it, and then just list out the things that you wrote down or that you see within that are things you find beautiful in your own world, in your own life. And you may even find things that aren't there continually, but you know that you can create them or have them in your life. So if, say, you wrote down flowers and you don't have a lot of flowers around you all the time, if you know that that's part of your utopia, the more that you bring flowers into your life, the more utopia feel you're going to have, the more heaven on earth feel you're going to have around you. That ideal will begin to create through something as simple as having flowers around you. Whether that means planting a pot of flowers that you have somewhere, or buying yourself a bouquet of blooms every week or day, or whatever you want to do, find that. So another way to bring that forward is to make that practice, that creating or writing down your utopia. You can extend that out for like multiple days, so you can keep coming back to it if you'd like. The second invitation, the second practice to honor the idea portion of today's video is to get into a state of childlike play. Get into a state of childlike play and just witness the mind meditating and harmonizing with the soul and the spirit. And then you'll start to see all these sparks of ideas that come from that place, like fireflies all around you. And just witness that. That's all this invitation is. Nothing else has to come from that. Just witness that. This is another way that I was able to get into a childlike state of play. Where that happened was a couple weeks ago. I did a class with a few of my friends where we did soul painting, and it was amazing to paint. So what we did was we learned a little dance routine, and then we used movement to paint a picture from a soul-centered place. And what came from that, just feeling the mind, just meditate into the soul space and the heart space, and watching it come to life through movement and through painting, it was so beautiful to see what the soul wanted us to see. And it was amazing because each one of us, it was so different. Each one was super, super different. We all used very different colors. And once we stepped back and we all kind of looked and assessed each one of them, each one saw different things in it that meant something to the person that painted it. For me, mine ended up looking like the shape of a heart. And the main part of it, I was moving and dancing and all this, and my friend had come up and was talking to me as I was doing it. And I did this movement, and I stopped in my tracks, and I was like, that's a dolphin. Like, that movement just painted a dolphin. And my friend grabbed my arm. She's like, don't paint anymore. You're done. That's your sign that you're done. Dolphin is my spirit animal. So the fact that came through this painting exercise, it was so beautiful to see that, and all of the other things that depicted from that painting, from that soul painting. So painting is a great way. Just free drawing, free painting. Again, go out and just play something that you played as a kid, or with toys, or with whatever you did. Play dress up. Play a game from your childhood. Anything that brings you into that childlike state of mind that just you feel free and in full imagination. That is the second invitation of an exercise to honor the idea part of this segment. Thank you for joining me today. I have decided that in the recording of this video, that on the last day, we are going to go through each of the assignments or the invitations that we had in each video. And we're just going to briefly touch on each of them. I'll probably share my own. And I think that from that, you will find your own definition when you kind of look at them from a whole perspective, when you look at them all together. And then from there, you may take an invitation to create something out of that. So whether it's a little booklet or a poster or something that incorporates all the exercises together in some sort of creative expression, it can be a nice piece to what your definition of beauty is through this 10-day journey into beauty. So thank you for joining me today. I am excited to see you tomorrow. We only have a few more left, and I can't wait to see what comes up for you throughout this 10-day journey and all of these practices that we're extending through each video. Thank you for joining me. I will see you tomorrow.